Hello everybody, Turiosaurus here, and welcome to another Mountain Blade tutorial video! So don't really have any ideas for new ones, aside from this one, just something that kind of popped into my head that I said I'd touch base on and never did, and that is troop formations on the battlefield and how to actually do said things. I am nowhere near an expert on this. There is way better ways to do it than the way that I do it, but it works and I win battles, so I figured I'd share. Before we get started, just want to show you guys the fruits of our labors in the trading video, the quote-unquote economics video, our weekly budget report. I now make money just being around, and that is with 42 fairly well-trained men at my disposal. So anyways, we are going to hop into a battle with these guys, because I'm fairly certain I can catch them with no trouble. Yes, I can. There's 30 of them. My men are not that well trained, so we could run into some trouble. But anyways, we're going to hop in here. And the very first thing that I do is I tell everyone to hold their position. Now the reason I do this is so that everybody stops running forward. Now given the fact that we're up on a hill, I'm going to hit 2 to grab my archers, and then I'm going to hit F1 for movement orders and tell them to hold this position. As you guys can see, F1 is for movement positions. F2 is, oh, no, see, I just screwed up trying to show you guys. Haha! Here, we'll select a group. So if you click F1, it shows you movement orders. If you click F2, it shows you formation orders, and F3 is fire orders. So for instance, if I hit 2 to select my archers, and then click F3 for fire orders, I can then click F2 to tell them to fire at will. Now generally speaking, this is kind of the formation that I have. I tell my troops to hold. I will stick my infantry approximately 10 paces in front of my archers. Now I also have a group of followers. Now that's that guy right there in the middle. I'm going to tell him to stand behind the archers. The reason that I have a fourth group for followers, and I select them by clicking 4, is to make sure that my followers don't get knocked out, because they get rather angry when they get knocked out. So this is generally my pattern when I have an army such as this. I have my infantry up front with their shield so that they can absorb these hits that are coming in. I stand just to the right with my crossbow and start doing some damage. And then when the time comes, I will start running around like this to draw as much fire as possible. Then I'll swing through here, try not to get slashed by a million spears and stuff. We are fighting 30 of these guys, which is a bit more than I usually like to do. At least when I'm this low level and this easy to kill. But whenever I get the chance, I come in and I slash one of these guys, or go for a stab, or whatever it may be. But long story short, I try and pick off the ones along the outside, because they're the ones that are easy to hit, and particularly those guys. Because those guys are the ones that are shooting my men and doing some damage while my archers try and take them out. And then once I've got them kind of weakened down and I've taken out most of their archers, that's when I'll hit 1 and then F1, F3, and that tells my infantry to charge. Now at this point, they're fairly spread out because I've been running them around all over the place, which means that when my infantry gets in there to take them out, there is going to be an advantage for my men. Basically, we will outnumber the troops at this point, even if we didn't outnumber them before. So whenever we get into engagements with the enemy, we have generally at least a 2-on-1 stature going. And that's really what I'm shooting for with that tactic, is I spread them out, I let my archers wear them down as much as they can, and then when it comes time to charge, my infantry should be able to have the advantage because there will be more of my men to their people. You can also adapt this tactic for cavalry. If I have cavalry, I'll usually have them up on a hill somewhere over here, kind of at a flanking stage, That way they can charge in. I generally have my cavalry charge at the same time that I have. That's nice. My cavalry will usually charge in about the same time that I have everybody else go in. There's a lot of wasted money if you couldn't tell, so inventory management, good skill to have. But yeah, so I will usually have my cavalry sitting back and, to either side of either team. That way, when they charge in, they avoid the infantry and don't get stuck on them, but they also have a clear path straight to the enemy. Archers always behind because they have lower armor, but they can hit people from a range. So I want them protected behind my infantry up front because they have the shields and can stop the ranged enemies from killing them. And then I usually pick up a quick horse and run around the other team in circles. As you saw there, it was relatively risky. I'm down to 36% health because I got hit by a couple spears or throwing axes or javelins, whatever you want to say. Long story short, I got hit because I went in and tried to kill some dudes a little too quickly. I could upgrade these guys. I'm currently keeping them at their stage that they are because they're strong enough to take on the Sea Raiders and not get killed. And I'm trying to keep my weekly costs down. Now, if I was going to become a vassal and start fighting enemy armies, I would upgrade them to Nord Warriors and probably hold off on Huskarls until I had a little bit more monies. But all in all, that's kind of how I do it. Now, the reason that I want to show you guys the party screen is for these little guys right here. Your class of troop. This dictates what number you hit in order to command them with F1, F2, or F3. So this guy, Arteminer, he is under followers. Now the reason that I hit 4 for followers is because it's the 4th one down. 1 is infantry, and you can rename the groups. That's not a problem. But yeah, you basically click 1 for that one, 2 for this one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever one you want. And you can name them anything. You can have a group of bodyguards. You can do this, that, and the other. I believe that there's a way to split these guys somehow. I don't actually know how to do it myself. But long story short, you can specialize each individual group to its own specialization. Imagine that, because I said specialize before. And then you can line them up on the battlefield however you choose. Now you can also pull up a mini-map whilst in battle and organize your troops that way. I never really got into it just because it seems slower and less lifelike. The one thing that I do want to learn, which I don't currently know how to do actually, is when you are selecting where someone should go to, it doesn't have to be where you're at. There is a way to slide out a flag or like a banner, and you'll say, hold position there, and then they'll go to wherever that banner is instead of where you are. It's kind of useful to have, though, given the fact that I have never learned how to do it and I've been playing for 2 years, kind of goes to show that it's not actually necessary. It's just kind of fun. But anyways, that is how you go about setting up troops on the battlefield. All of your different commands, so to speak, is under the F1, F2, or F3 flag. And then you select which group of your army that you want to control with your 1 through 8 keys or something like that. And then you can kind of set up tactics on your own. That's my basic strategy, is the whole infantry up front, cavalry off to one side, and archers behind, generally with my followers behind the archers as well, or in the archers group, honestly. Half the time what I'll end up doing is I'll just stick these guys in the archer group, just so that we don't have to worry about manually putting them wherever we want to. But yeah, that is pretty much it when it comes to organizing your troops on the battlefield. That's how I go about doing it. If you guys have any suggestions for any other people watching the video, definitely drop that in the comments below, as well as any suggestions you have for me as to what to record next. But anyhow, I hope that you all are enjoying this series and finding it helpful, and we will see you in the next video.